You know, I hate AI standing for artificial intelligence. Apple Intelligence is ironically terrible, but it might have just got better today. All right, possibly the most exciting thing is going to be live translation. There is an entire world full of people and ideas that never, until they happen in real time, will become like part of the zeitgeist, part of an ultimate world culture. So translation with something like the Apple AirPods 3 just announced and real-time FaceTime, phone calls, and messages might actually mean that we can start kind of diving in, making friends in other parts of the world that speak different languages, and I'm pretty excited for that. And they did something pretty smart. So on the AirPods Pro 3, it will pipe in one language that you're listening to through the AirPods. So in your ears, you're actually hearing, say, Spanish. And then on the other, through the iPhone speaker, you can have English. So there's a completely natural conversation. Okay, look, even if their intelligent translation model is maybe a generation behind some of their competitors, putting it in this kind of hardware, listen to what the experience is actually going to be like.
Bringing the magic of AirPods to the way you communicate across languages with live translation powered by Apple Intelligence. Now, when you are together with someone who speaks a different language, like exploring a market abroad, AirPods Pro will help you understand them in your preferred language. Using a new simple gesture, live translation begins. Translating Spanish, while ANC lowers the volume of the person speaking, so it's easier to focus on the translation.
Hola, bienvenida.
Hi.
Hoy todos los claveles.
Hello, welcome. Today, all the red carnations are 50% off. And it doesn't...
Okay, so the noise cancellation can actually block out, from what I understand, like specifically the Spanish so that you hear English in your earpiece, which is going to help the speed, the real-timeness of the conversation.
It doesn't just translate individual words. The meaning of each phrase is translated for you. When you need to talk, just speak naturally.
I'd love to take some of these to my sister for her birthday. I'll buy 8, please.
Your iPhone displays your words in their language and can even read them out loud if needed.
Vale.
Live translation is even more useful when both people are wearing AirPods Pro.
I agree, yeah. Let's include the
Eu concordo, sim. Vamos incluir as principais descobertas na apresentação de sexta-feira.
Com certeza. O cliente vai adorar ver isso.
Definitely. The client will love that. I'll let the strategy team know to prepare that immediately.
This incredible capability is enabled by advanced computational audio on AirPods, combined with Apple Intelligence models running on iPhone.
Look, Apple AirPods 4 will probably have cameras installed and it will be intelligent to what the setting is. I'm surprised at how much can be fit into those little earbuds, but you remember the movie Her? It just becomes so seamless. I love the idea. Two people speaking different languages in real life, talking and translating instantly. That's cool. That is very cool. All right, now let's talk about the visual intelligence updates.
With iOS 26, we are adding even more. With visual intelligence, you can search, take action, and ask questions about what's on your iPhone screen. Live translation helps you communicate across languages in phone, FaceTime, and messages. And just like all of Apple Intelligence, these features are designed to protect your privacy at every step. The efficiency of Apple Silicon contributes to all-day battery life on iPhone 17. And with ProMotion, iPhone 17 gets up to 8 more hours of video playback compared to iPhone 16.
So we have upgrades to visual intelligence, which is going to give you something a little closer to what we get with ChatGPT, where you can take a photograph, a snapshot, but you know, it's built into the operating system. If you have the newest iPhones, you get the button on the side. It's convenient. I think that's going to make it just a little bit smoother, but it's definitely the new frontier of how I'm starting to use ChatGPT, and I'm glad Apple is going to actually be there this time, because taking photo of a bruise and asking what should I do, taking a photograph of a plant and asking how do I take care of it, this is really useful stuff. And of course, a lot of it powered with the on-device AI, which hopefully will be the safest way to actually let private information be used by AI, because you know how much I get worried about prompt injections. Here is the Workout Buddy Apple Intelligence update.
More than 50 million hours of data from the Apple Heart and Movement Study.
which is one of the largest studies of its kind with more than 250,000 participants. This incredible integration.
Okay, and here's the crazy thing. The AirPods 3, they're almost like an Oura Ring. They have those little sensors in them. So there's more than just audio going on in your ear now.
Integration between hardware and software takes your fitness experience to the next level with AirPods Pro 3. Now, when you go to the fitness app on iPhone, you'll see a new workout experience, where with just AirPods Pro, you can track up to 50 different workout types. And it's so easy to get started. This means you can get even more from the activities you love. So, when you're listening to music on your daily walk, you can track heart rate and calories burned using the new AirPods Pro. And you'll have access to audio experiences like Workout Buddy, powered by Apple Intelligence to motivate you along the way.
That's a new record. You just walked the longest distance in a walking workout this month.
Workouts you complete will also help close your move ring, contribute to your step count, and you can stay motivated to do.
So what do you think? You like the sound of that AI voice? Congratulations, you've walked more than you've walked any other time this month. I think it's kind of cool though, honestly. Taking metrics, heart rate, calories, the idea of just getting the raw sensor data, not just displaying it and forcing me to look at my heart rate and say, is that in the good range? What does that mean? Letting Apple Intelligence actually go through that and say, it means you need to start moving again because this is unhealthy. That's what I want to hear. Next thing I want to talk about is the on-device private AI. This is the one thing that Apple probably really does have on any other company if they use it right. They have silicon chips in these iPhones that they control, meaning that there's a lot less risk of somebody figuring out a way to sort of hack them. Not that it can't be done, but the idea of servers that are built with Apple Silicon, phones with Apple Silicon, and a much tighter feedback loop that means they can do better cybersecurity prevention, that's pretty cool. And when you use that with a localized model, something not where you're sending your voice off to GPT to be processed on some mega server, but you're letting it stay on your phone, that means it can be looking at your calendar, it can be reading your text messages, and it's not using all of that for training data up on the server. So it's really important that somebody gets this right, and Apple's in a position to do it. They focused on it a bit. They say Apple's foundation model runs on your iPhone 17 hardware, not in the cloud. Okay, and the final thing was that they're being more open with Apple Intelligence. So developers now have all sorts of new ways to tap into this. So the world of apps, fitness apps were kind of the first thing that made sense to me, but there is so many things that are going to happen with probably Gmail and different calendar apps and productivity apps. And of course, even social apps that are going to tap into your calendar, into your contacts. They can ask questions about, your availability and things like that. And then not send all that information away, but talk to the app in a way that's intelligent and makes the app more useful. This is their foundation model framework. It's for developers. It seems like they have a lot of access to do some really cool stuff that they didn't have before, or at least a reasonable amount to try to catch up with Google. And here you can see the foundation model framework says that you can tap directly into the on-device large language model at the core of Apple Intelligence to power features in your app. But it's not just the iPhone that got more intelligent today. Also, the Tesla Optimus robot has shown up on the internet with Grok installed. Salesforce CEO is hanging out with Elon and posted this. Every tech CEO that I can think of that controls everything you and I watch gathered around Trump to talk about what number they could throw out for investment. 600 billion seems to be where everybody started to stress out a little bit. With Zuckerberg caught on mic saying, I wasn't quite sure what number you wanted me to go with. So collusion? You be the judge? I want to share off Mirage. This is taking real-time camera feeds and changing them into whatever you want. Scientists are turning home Wi-Fi routers into health monitors that track heartbeats, so we don't even need to wear anything. We just track the Wi-Fi in our house as it goes through your body. There's some new research that does a deeper look on how AI crawlers are actually going about the internet doing things. Also making some predictions on how things are going to rapidly change in the next couple of years. We're going to talk about some AI-guided drones that are flying into wildfire smoke smoke plumes to capture 3D data, like stuff we have never been able to train models on before. The primordial ooze is becoming less of a mystery as scientists have recreated a step that may have sparked life, cracking the mystery of life's first proteins. There's some new research that's showing how the ChatGPT buzzwords that often come out of it are turning up now in everyday speech, so AI is influencing society. Fascinating new evidence that diffusion language models do know the answer before decoding, meaning they're doing more than just next word token prediction. Like, we have to get that out of our mind and understand that the pattern is the intelligence, and it's in there. I'll share some opinions from Pierre's Newton-John about the uncanny derangement of AI, hallucinating ourselves. AI is a symptom of cultural psychosis. Also share David Shapiro's thoughts on why we're bootstrapping a new civilizational operating system when we unlock LLMs and let them interact with us. And then, just for fun, to do something that's way over my head, I'll talk about why it's sort of fascinating that a photon, which travels at the speed of light, which at the speed of light also means there is no space to travel through, is something that doesn't move and it also travels. It's just really fascinating. Big question, why doesn't light have a speed? Well, we'll look into it. But first, by far the most important thing that you could do right now is press the hype button on this YouTube video. That disproportionately benefits smaller channels like mine, and it really can help my channel stand out if I can get onto the leaderboard. So it's not even about sponsors or Patreons or like comments or anything right now. Just if you could hype this video, that is all that I could ever ask for. So please hype it. Now we'll go back to it. All right, so this is some new footage of an updated Optimus that Elon is taking around with his billionaire buddies. Salesforce CEO got a chance to chat with it. What do you think?
Hey, Optimus, what are you doing there?
Just chilling, ready to help.
Hey, Optimus, do you know where I can get a Coke?
Sorry, I don't have real-time info, but I can take you to the kitchen if you want to check for a Coke there.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Yes, let's do that. Let's go.
Awesome. Let's head to the kitchen.
Okay.
Okay, go.
I think we need to give it a bit more room. Right now, it's kind of paranoid about space.
Huh.
It'll be able to walk a lot faster too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that gives me a better perspective of what it might be like to have humanoids walking around our streets and homes really soon. I'm not saying I'm comfortable with it, but there is no future where I don't see this happening, whether we want it or it's just like rammed down our throats or it's just too cost effective for everyone. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but I'll get used to it. In other news that I found weird this week, like there's a bunch of people, like literally almost everyone that's going to make a huge impact on how the world plays out through the singularity, all went to this giant dinner with Donald Trump. And it's crazy. Right next to him and Melania, he put, I mean, usually that's considered the power position at a big table like this. He put Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg. So definitely two of the most powerful people in the world just chilling there. I mean, who knows what they talked about after this, like after the cameras went off, but whatever they talked about, people who were privy at this meeting were the CEO of Microsoft, the CEO of Apple, the CEO of Google, Sam Altman from OpenAI. Like, you get all those people aligned on anything, and we're talking about so many trillions of dollars worth of business. I mean, that room is going to basically set the tone for the future. Of course, Elon's got a lot of power, but compared to everybody combined there, he isn't quite at that level. And then you could argue that there's a similar group like this in China with the CEO of Baidu and Tencent and some other foreign players, the UAE and stuff, that might kind of give these guys a run for the money. But realistically speaking, this is the most powerful table I think I've ever seen. And man, I will tell you, do they love praising Donald Trump. I don't know what to think about that. I mean, do you believe that they just like love that he's so pro-business and they just like, it's just weird. Like, what is going on? Does he say, like, when the cameras are off, is he like, listen, as long as you guys keep that no king stuff off social media, I will make sure that we have no regulation and you guys can do what you want? Or like how complimentary he was to Bill Gates. I was wondering, okay, so here's what I'm thinking. These are the visions that I imagine that these people want for the future. Okay, so if we start here with Bill Gates, my guess would be if he's into philanthropy and the number one thing he wants to do is lift the bottom 1% of the world out of poverty. He's thinking to himself, how is AI going to kind of shift Africa, some of the smaller parts of India that are not getting lifted up with the world economy in the same way bigger places are? So he's probably thinking, all right, as long as I'm good to Donald Trump, like what will he do to help me make a difference with my nonprofit? I mean, Chamath is a billionaire from early Facebook stock, and then he became what, they call him the king of SPAC. So he kind of figured out a new way to make a company and then change it and then make it public and take money basically from one place and give it to another and have like a huge fee in between. I don't really know what kind of vision or even if his venture fund really would make as much of a difference as these guys. So I'll skip him. Tim Cook. Tim Cook seems like classic businessman, just like, here's your golden, Apple product. Just kind of let me be a product guy and make sure I can get my hardware internationally and try to move jobs to the US and tell you what you want to hear. So he just seems like a yes man to me.
I think you can imagine there's never been anything like it. The most brilliant people are gathered around this table. This is definitely a high IQ group.
So here's the Microsoft CEO saying that his policies are helping.
It's perhaps the most important issue, and you and your policies are really helping a lot. So thank you very much. And also I wanted to thank Madam First Lady for hosting what I think is perhaps the most defining issue, which is about skilling and economic opportunity.
Microsoft owns LinkedIn. I feel like that's the social network that Donald Trump's not too worried about. It's not like a ton of gossip stuff happens over there. All right, let's hear Bill Gates.
That Satya's good work has helped multiply a lot. But I think the thing that ties my first career that I still spend some time on because AI is so phenomenal, and my second career is innovation, innovating in health in areas like vaccines or gene editing, and the president and I are talking about taking American innovation to the next level to cure and even eradicate some of these diseases. He mentioned polio, which is one.
If Bill Gates can convince Donald Trump that vaccines can be built to cure polio, that'd be pretty crazy. I mean, like, there's so much potential with gene editing. I mean, gene editing is really going to rock the boat. And like when AI gets a hold of, can read the language of DNA and proteins, and we can inject that stuff, like it is going to change humans and the whole biological world around us. And then Sam Altman's, he's always the trickiest one for me because he's glazing Trump the most. Everything just seems like excellent that Trump has done and what he says, but he doesn't even ask him to praise him. He just does it. So I don't know if I got anything useful out of him, but Sam Altman as a person is a product guy. So to me, if his vision of kind of AI plays out, it's just lots and lots of startups. It's lots and lots of products. It's lots and lots of capitalism, which is probably pretty good. I do like the way that he builds products, but with AI being such a powerful tool, and I'm not so sure that's going to play out as well as it would in every other kind of technology. It just seems like moving that fast and that rapidly and sort of break things and fix them later is a little bit dangerous when some of the tools become this powerful. But I mean, we'll see. There's some truth to trying to beat other countries and trying to stay forward thinking. So I don't know. But see, Trump says, you've told me things before that are absolutely incredible. And then he's like, can you talk to that? And then Sam Altman's just like, just want to thank you. You're so great. Thank you so much. You're the best. I'm like, that's not what he asked you.
Tell us about what you're doing. You told me things before that are absolutely unbelievable. So what are you doing?
First of all, to echo the comments of Tim and others, thank you so much for getting us all together. And thank you for being such a pro-business, pro-innovation president. It's a very refreshing change. We're very excited to see what you're doing to make all of our companies and our entire country so successful. The investment that's happening here, the ability to get the power in the industry back in the United States, I think this will set us up for a long period of great success leading the world. And I don't think that would be happening now without your leadership. We're very grateful to be able to build our company here, to build data centers here, to build the entire AI industry and lead the world in the United States. Echoing many other people's comments, I think this will transform the world in a profound way. And I think it really will be the United States' advantage to be able to lead the world this way. The event that the First Lady hosted today about education was really wonderful.
So I want to show off Mirage. This is supposedly the first ever world transformation model, turning any video game or camera feed into a new digital world. Yeah, all right, so here we go. That is a duplicate of me. Oh, okay. Real-time chat. Frozen Wonderland. Let's try relaxation. Hey, what's up, guys? This is all happening in real time. This is not post-editing at all. Oh my God, zombie. Colored manga? Hey, what up? I'm a VR, or what's that called? A VTuber. Look, I'm a VTuber now. Wall? Okay, that's crazy. Gold digger. Steampunk. Yeah, you guys think it'd be better if I start running the channel like this? Dang. Cold AF. Dubai Skyline. Just throw it. Man, fake muscles. That's great. Moon landing. Egyptian pyramids. S'mores. Here comes K-pop. Music festival guy. K-pop. So yeah, get ready. I mean, tell me this isn't just going to be like some super beautiful avatar. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Sort of comic booky. Maybe. Okay, jungle. I gotta see one more before I go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Doing my podcast here in the jungle. Oh, look what it did to Hobbs up here. Oh my God, put a face on Hobbs? Oh, back to a tiger? Oh, that is creepy. Look, it keeps trying to make that face. All right, I'm out. Next up, let's talk about US scientists turning home Wi-Fi routers into health monitors. This is crazy stuff because we've talked about how Wi-Fi, when it goes through the human body, slows down and AI can be trained to kind of put together where somebody is in a room. But taking it to the next level, scientists at the University of California have come up with a clever way to turn Wi-Fi signals into a tool that can measure your heart rate. So no wristbands, no medical gear needed. This is dubbed the Pulse-Fi, and it is a system of super inexpensive hardware, like a Raspberry Pi and a Wi-Fi, that is combined with machine learning to detect tiny fluctuations in Wi-Fi signals caused by your heartbeat. So after just 5 seconds of scanning, Pulse-Fi can measure your pulse with half a beat per minute accuracy, working reliably whether you're sitting, standing, talking, walking, lying down, or even 10 feet away from the router. So the everyday Wi-Fi could soon be dubbed a silent health monitor, running in the background, tracking your pulse, even your breathing. Tell me your thoughts about that in the comments. Crazy. I just never thought I'd live in a world where, just growing up, I was like, oh, you know what? One day Wi-Fi will probably track my heartbeats and breaths. Who would have thought? Interesting new tool from Cloudflare just rolled out, and it does AI traffic analytics. So it's essentially letting a website owner see exactly why AI bots are crawling their sites. Kind of gives us some insight into what these big models are being trained on. Because sometimes, ChatGPT might reach out to a website and copy it because it wants to train on it. Or maybe because a user queried something and it wants to check really quick on some information. Sometimes it's kind of search related, and then there's other unknown reasons. So here you can see the ChatGPT users at 14.9%, GPT bots at 17%. And how they change over time. They even break it down by which company's doing what. So there's like Apple bot here, and Amazon bot, and Meta external agent, and ChatGPT users, Minstrel AI. It's crazy to think a TikTok spider, the ByteDance spider, Perplexity spider. It's crazy to see how much they're out there just like pulling information off the web. Like, it makes you wonder how much is even human anymore. Another fascinating story is that AI-guided drones are now flying into wildfire smoke plumes, and it's capturing 3D data for research. So researchers, University of Minnesota, they've developed a swarm of AI-powered drones that can actually fly into wildfire smoke. And then it uses onboard sensors and machine learning to detect the smoke in real time and gather 3D data. The reason why this is important is because these nimble aerial robots capture information from multiple angles to reconstruct the shape and movement of smoke. Why would somebody need to know that? Well, because a machine learning model in the future could offer high resolution tracking at a lower cost than satellites. It could improve the way scientists forecast air quality. And mostly when there's a wildfire going on, sending drones in to detect how the smoke is actually moving around it might give them insight into just exactly where they need to burn some trees to like stop the fire. So it's intelligence in a new form. The same way we have models like AlphaFold that can fold proteins, we can soon have a model that looks at the inside of smoke, makes predictions about how wind and fires are going to interact, and that might help us stop forest fires. Isn't that crazy? And it's even using multi-view drone swarms combined with neural radiance fields. So it's reconstructing the 3D smoke plumes, and then it gives us all sorts of ability to do simulations and train models in the future. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the Wes and Dylan podcast, I definitely recommend it. We're starting to do some awesome interviews with great people, but the video that dropped yesterday, totally underrated. It's only getting like 2,000 views, but this guy, Max, was creating entire video games, just vibe coding, and I found it super inspiring. So if you guys are interested in ever creating your own games, because you can now do it like he is without knowing actual programming or game development or Unity or any of that stuff, this is the time to start getting into it. I mean, it's the early days, but he's creating some games that are like legit fun, not just demos of what AI can do. And we're right on the cusp of this becoming something where really really high quality games on Steam are just being vibe coded by single people. All right, next up, let's talk about the origins of life. One of the coolest things about AI is it's starting to give us these insights into the history of how things came together. And if you are aware of the Miller experiment, it's this idea that you can take inorganic materials and under early Earth conditions, make them early proteins and maybe even RNA that can fold on itself. So for a while, we've sort of known this, but we've taken it to a new level now as scientists recreate a step that may have sparked life. So here's the puzzle of life's story. RNA carries instructions, proteins do the work, but how did the two originally team up? What was the first thing that could have made those two even work together, a chicken or egg? Well, this new study that was published in Nature answers that by showing how amino acids, the protein building blocks, could naturally attach to RNA using basic chemistry that was plausible on its own at the dawn of life. So the researchers used this thing called theosters. These are energy-rich compounds that, like those that you might see in modern metabolism, to activate the amino acids and connect them to RNA. This all happened spontaneously in water at a neutral pH. That means it could have happened on Earth, 5 or 6 billion years ago when life just popped into existence. So it's a major step towards understanding how RNA first began to guide protein synthesis and how it may have happened in small little ponds. It's also notable that there's these two kind of leading origin of life frameworks. One's called RNA World, where RNA self-replicates on itself. And the other one's called Theoster World. I hadn't heard of this one before, but it's where sulfur-based energy compounds power early chemistry. And this kind of bridges the two. This is suggesting that sulfur chemistry didn't just fuel early reactions. It might have been the key in kickstarting the very partnership between RNA and proteins that still defines life today. All right, so this is a good one for the comments below. I'm curious if any of your friends or any like conversations you've heard in real life, you're hearing people say stuff that you just know was somebody who uses AI a lot. You know, like, we should delve into that, or like, what an intricate question you have, or that, you know, passes my expectations. It's very meticulous the way you did this or that. These are all like ChatGPT style outputs, and people are getting so used to reading and writing them that we're now starting to talk that way. So Florida State University researchers have discovered many of the words ChatGPT tends to overuse are increasingly surfacing in everyday spoken language, especially in unscripted science and tech podcasts. I mean, they're probably showing up in my transcripts more because I use so much of this stuff in my work, but Their analysis of over 22 million words comparing speech before 2019 to 2021 and then after ChatGPT's release in 2023 to now shows a clear uptake in AI-favored terms, while similar synonyms such as words like explore instead of delve just haven't seen the same rise. So this suggests that people are unconsciously mirroring the stylistic habits of language models in casual conversation, and it's just more of that symbiotic relationship that we're going to have with AI, which is just crazy. It's the seep-in effect. Like, there's not one person that is responsible for it. It's just conditioning by spoken language, and it's happening in a broad way through all of society. Because in a way, ChatGPT is like putting words in our mouth. It's through repeated exposure, and we just kind of naturally learn from it. Remember, what comes out of ChatGPT is essentially training data for the human brain. We go to bed at night and we fall asleep and we learn what we did throughout the day, and we probably barely notice it, but it's just sneaking up on us, the seep-in effect. All right, so I want to direct your attention towards this paper. It is called Diffusion Language Models Know the Answer Before Decoding. It's got some DeepMind researcher, kind of an international group here, and it is so fascinating. So this model is talking about the diffusion language model. So not like ChatGPT, it's not next token prediction. But in the same way an image diffuses sort of from static noise layer by layer, you can build a language model like that. And in fact, there's some advantages. They're actually extremely fast to make answers, but they also kind of jumble words and then correct them. It's just sort of a different thing. But anyways, those kind of diffusion models, which also come up with very intelligent answers, often, quote, lock in the right answer well before finishing their denoising steps. So it means that if you have a question like, what dog breed do you recommend if I want to herd some cattle or something like that, its answer is in there, and it's learned the answer deeper in the context, and way before you get to the final answer, it's already on that track, and you can make a prediction that it's going to end up there. So the authors are spotting early answer convergence 97 to 99% of the time. These are cases where the actual correct answer is already figured out halfway through the decoding process. So then they propose this tool that they're calling Prophet, which would be a training-free drop-in decoding tweak that watches the gap between the top two token logits. And then when the confidence is high enough, it just commits to the rest of the sequence. It's kind of like, oh, I can see you're going down this track. Don't even worry. It's almost like autocomplete. Like, just let's get to the end. And then boom, it's like 3 or 4 times faster with no accuracy loss. In fact, in some cases, it's even saving the answer from being corrupt. They call it late stage corruption. But when you have a diffusion model putting together a text sentence towards the end, it might actually go a little, like, kind of overcook it, like bake it out of the right answer. So sometimes it's like, oh, we already got to the answer. Boom, let's jump to the end. And by the way, they use the word logits, but you can kind of think of it like probabilities. Logits are the raw scores that a model puts out, a score for like which word it should be used in which way before it turns them into probabilities, because you're just like deeper in the kind of latent space. But the coolest idea is that decoding these models isn't really something that you have to think about on a fixed budget. It's an optimal stopping problem, meaning once you have enough evidence that the answer is right, you might as well just jump to the end. All right, next up, let's talk about this opinion article, The Uncanny Derangement of AI, Hallucinating Ourselves. AI as a Symptom of Cultural Psychosis. Piers Newton-John wrote this on Medium. There's something uncanny about the particular fluidity to AI-generated video. A face, and then it morphs, and then it's something else, and you're just like, what did I see? It really sometimes makes me question. And he also says it's mesmerizing, it's like a psychedelic trip. And he's arguing that it's not just deeply unsettling, it's technically impressive, but in a psychologically strange way. And I couldn't agree more. I can't help but think about AI videos like this, where it's like kind of real and kind of just fluid, like in a fluid way, super sort of broken and uncanny, and you know, like it just can't handle the consistency of the human body flipping through the air and going into water. Like, what? But in a weird way, look at how realistic the water kind of looks. Like something really did splash in there, but the person just legs or arms and necks or ankles and flippity floppity everything. But if you look at this kind of stuff, it's also broken in a way that CGI doesn't break. It's just sort of hard to look away from. Sort of weird, but surprisingly connected in the way that it breaks. And yeah, so he's arguing in this article about just how like the face movements feel human enough to be unsettling, but they create sort of a dissonance between something you're familiar with and the wrongness that sticks with you. It's just that uneasy feeling in seeing what sometimes is like our own doppelganger. If you make these videos with you in them, you're like, oh, that was me, but kind of not me, but that's not exactly how my body would move. It just, the motion's a little wrong. But the whole idea that AI generated content doesn't just mimic reality, it distorts it in small ways that are uncanny, kind of almost reminds me of how the seep-in effect is happening with words. Like, what if we do get kind of used to going to Netflix and having like a whole video generated and having the star be some celebrity that we know, and then mostly not noticing the weirdness, but then once in a while just shifting out of register a little bit. It'll look real and like real enough that you don't exactly know what's off, but there's an offness to it. Maybe the depth of like a car driving towards the front, you know, the screen, or the way that an actor sits in the car just is really close to real, but it's just not the real physics of the real world. Next up, I wanted to share this post by David Shapiro. He argues that we're bootstrapping a new civilizational operating system, and I think this is a pretty cool idea. Like, I like the analogies of video games and how they create, you know, 3D environments to why we might live in a simulation and stuff like that. And Civilization OS is pretty good way to think in layers. So he starts by pointing out how 2025 might be the last year that the majority of computer code was written by humans. But first you get this hardware and energy level. So there's like chips, fabs, powers, data center, and that's why David's not worried about the AI bubble. Then you get the kernel, which would be the foundation model, an LLM like ChatGPT or Gemini. Then on top of a kernel inside of a computer, you would have a driver to talk to that lowest level thing. So that would be the API connectors, retrieval, vision, and speech, tool usage, which we're starting to see in a lot of the things that we're using. And then you get more abstracted, and here's where it kind of starts to kind of guide where I think the future is going. So you get system services, agent orchestration, scheduling, identity and authorization, payments, all that stuff is starting to be built out right now. And then soon we'll see full domain specific workflows, like where AI is manufacturing a car and AI is like running the robots that put all the pieces together, or that, you know, something like JP Morgan is doing all of their prediction and their stock buying, and the whole company is sort of running based on these AI workflows. And then we'll get the layer on top of that, like how do you actually order the car? How do you actually like invest your money through JP Morgan's AI system? So like at voice, ambient UI, co-pilots embedded everywhere, just walking around your house, probably just like talking, and everything else happens behind the scenes. And then you move up to the full society level, governance and guardrails. This would be safety policies, probably sort of more government stuff, data provinces. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I liked all the layers of bringing a computer from binary up to something that we all use every day, and kind of thinking about AI as sort of doing that to a whole civilization. So yeah, and definitely subscribe to David Shapiro, join his groups or whatever. He's amazing. All right, if you make sure to hype this video, then I'm going to go one step further. We're going to do something fun here. We're going to talk about what if everything we think we know about the speed of light is totally wrong. I wanted to start here where there is some real interesting things that happen, physically, experimentally testable, about the idea of space-time, and the faster you move, the less space and time you have to go through. Okay, so the author, Dan, clearly has this for us to ponder. He's proposing a reinterpretation of what we think we know about light. Imagine if light isn't moving at all, which kind of makes sense because it moves at the speed of light, and when you go that fast, you can't have mass. But also, what are you traveling through? Like nothing, right? So what is light doing? It's not traveling, it just exists flat across some kind of fabric of space-time. It might be the same exact photon that's everywhere, or it's at the edge of the universe and where we are right now at the same time. We look at it and measure it as a constant. So we see c, we see the speed of light, but c isn't a velocity. It's a geometry in relation to where we are. And he describes it as an angled slice through space-time. So if you think about it as this slicing through space-time, this will shift the perspective to help make sense of relativity's sort of odd quirks. Questions like, why is light speed constant for all observers? Why can nothing surpass it? Why doesn't light experience time? So the idea is that the cosmic speed limit of light that we see everything from, it's not a physical barrier. We keep thinking of it as physics, like you can't go faster than the speed of light. But it's actually just a geometric constraint from our position. So in his view, you can't exceed light's speed, not because of friction or energy limits, but because you're always at a finite angle to the flat orientation of light in space-time. So no matter how much you accelerate, you can only ever approach that angle. You can never totally align with it. So the speed of light isn't something you can catch. It's the edge of a geometric reality. That's something that's just fun for me to think about. And I'm going to do that now when I go to bed because it's like 2 a.m. in the morning. So thanks for watching. If you wouldn't mind hyping this video, that button is the key to getting this channel up to 100,000 subscribers one day. So yeah, hype away on YouTube, and we will see you in the next video.